Hello everyone and welcome to the Silva Vine podcast with your host Michelle de Silva. A podcast that focuses on creating healing and awareness. In this episode, Michelle discusses eating disorders and the relationship we have with food with her guests Anna, a disordered eating and body image psychologist, and Henry, a lead pastor and author. Let's dive into today's episode.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Silva Vine podcast with me as your host Michelle de Silva. I'm excited about today's episode because I can definitely relate to what we're going to be speaking about today. And we are going to be speaking about eating disorders and the relationship that we have with food. I have got two wonderful guests who are going to help me explore these two topics. We've got Anna. Anna is a disordered eating and body image psychologist who has also recovered from an eating disorder herself. She has founded Healthy Mind Club, where she helps people make peace with food and their bodies. And also I have the lovely Henry. Henry is the lead pastor at Jesus House International. He's currently working on a TV series on stories from the Bible and also on working on releasing a book on a scriptural guide to healthy eating. So welcome, Anna, and welcome, Henry. Anna, first, you go.
Hi, thank you for having me on your podcast.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, Henry.
Thank you.
Sorry, I did let ladies go there first, if you don't mind.
My manners, I'm really sorry. Ladies first all the time, but it's an honor to be with you again, Michelle.
So, this is such an interesting topic because I certainly have over the years have been on yo-yo diets where I've picked up weight, lost weight. I have experienced myself excess eating where I have certainly had low moments and resorted to food as a comfort. So this is something that I'm really excited to talk about because I believe there is more people out there than what we think there are with regards to this topic that are going through a roller coaster of emotions and experiences. And it's so lovely to have you, Henry, being a male and having a male perspective on it. So yeah, welcome.
If I didn't know you, Michelle, I'll be wondering why you think men don't have eating disorders.
Well, it's such a taboo thing. You don't necessarily, and maybe this is wrong of me to even think this and say this. I just think, maybe I'm being a bit single-minded thinking, oh, it's just women, but it's not, is it?
I said it last time. Let me say it again. I'd like to be as fat as the women are. When men are fat, we carry our own bellies forever. Women carry theirs for only 9 months.
Well, yes, that's certainly true. And then you often think that men are pregnant at the same time.
It's happening now. Don't fall in that.
No, definitely. But on a serious note, Henry, please, I'd love to hear from your experience with regards to your struggles that you and the situations that you have found yourself in.
Yeah, mine started when I was, and by the way, thank you so much for having me, Michelle. Let me call you the lovely Michelle.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mine started when I was just 10 years old. That was when I became a Christian, and I'm going to leave you to guess how long ago that was. But it started when I was 10 years old. I got called into ministry and got saved at the same time. 3 days after I got saved, I started fasting. I did 21 days fasting, then I did 40 days fasting, all in 1 year, in the space of 6 months. And my eating habit absolutely changed, took a dive. I don't know whether upwards or downwards. And I soon developed what you would call ulcer. That's the original part of it. But because I continued that kind of a fasting lifestyle for a very long time, it affected my appetite, affected me in a lot of ways. I started seeing blood in pee and stuff like that. And I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to tell my parents. But there was once I had to go to the doctor, and he told me what was going on. And I started praying about it. And then I also had another problem that when I stopped fasting, after a long time, I rushed food, and so it started affecting me. My stomach was the biggest side of my body compared to every proportionality, compared to everywhere. So I prayed about it. And by God's grace, he just began to tell me, Henry, you have a problem with the way you're eating, and you're not the only one, and I'm going to show you how to help you. I'm going to show you what will help you. I'm going to teach you some good Christian eating habits. And I'm going to say this was mid 80s. And ever since then, my eating habit has been very different. I think it has affected the way I look. I'm in my mid 50s and I don't look it. Yeah, I sit in the midst of teenagers and they don't know that I'm possibly their father or their grandfather, but I leave that to God. He's been so gracious. But your eating habit affects almost everything about you, whether you're happy, whether you look good, whether you feel healthy, whether you're strong, or everything. And I'm hopeful that we're going to be talking about some of it today and bring some help to those of you that, identify with some of the things we'll be saying. And by the way, good to meet you again, Anna. Lovely, Anna.
Yes, no, definitely. I do think even though it is going to the extremes and opposites of our eating habits, there is a lot more junk food around there. People are not looking at the way and the relationship that they have with food. But I do think there is a lot of people that are also waking it up, like you've just said, Henry, about, oh, this is going to affect me. This, depression might be caused also by the way that I'm eating, my sadness, my moods. So I think we are waking up as a society and are starting to look at, hang on a minute, the food is affecting me, and we are having unhealthy relationships with our food. So I do think there's movement in that, but I still think that there is a lot where there isn't, and a lot of, I suppose, ignorance, if you want to call it, or we just have forgotten how it's supposed to be, or we've just perhaps the way society has evolved with things being a lot faster, so it's more convenient. So this is why it's so interesting to have both of you on to speak about this. And Anna, in terms of what you're doing currently at the moment, what's led you and to the point of you deciding that this is what you want to do with people? Is that through your own experience with regards to food?
Yeah, quite similar to lovely Henry, and I can confirm to your listeners, Michelle, that Henry does not look mid-50s. So I would say I was like teenager, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll second that. I'll second that. For those of you who can't see Henry, Henry definitely does not look 50.
Yeah, no.
I'm in trouble today.
No, but for me it was quite similar. Maybe not like it was with Henry, but my eating problems kind of started when I was 13, 14, and it was when puberty hit. So, obviously my body started changing, but it was, about 20 years ago now, or even longer actually. And I didn't know that, I would go through such changes. And that was like early 2000s in Poland, and this kind of, body image ideal was Kate Moss, very skinny models. So, you kind of look at those women you see in the magazines who are, by the way, very cleverly portrayed as always healthy, successful, happy. And somewhere on this unconscious level, you associate that, that, okay, if I look like her, I'll be like her, right? I'll be happy, I'll be successful. So those early beginnings of food issues, they are not really about the weight as much, but about the value you give to the way your body looks, So it's not about losing weight and being slimmer as much as it is about losing weight and feeling worthy, feeling lovable, feeling attractive, happy, successful. So I did my first crash diet, I think, when I was about 14, and then my struggles with weight cycling continued for good 10 years. And then I also did fasting for 2 weeks / juice cleanse kind of thing. And after that, I developed binge eating disorder followed by bulimia.
That's such a thing to go through. And it's quite interesting that you said it was, you thought that if you were to obtain that image that was out in the magazines, that you would obtain this happiness and this perfect presentation of how how your life was meant to be.
Yeah, because you grow up with those images, right? So we associate that together.
Yeah. So then what's led to you to doing the work that you do currently at the moment?
Well, I developed bulimia while I was studying psychology, so there was a lot of stigma, a lot of shame, embarrassment for me, so I ended up recovering on my own, which I do not recommend. If I could turn back time, I would definitely go and get some help for sure. But after my recovery, I kind of, not to say that I forgot about it, but I closed this chapter in my life. And some few years ago, I went on social media and I saw that really things hadn't really changed as much as I thought they would. There's still this unhealthy body image, diet culture. Social media makes it even worse these days, I think, for teenagers. And I felt like, Jesus, like you have this Atkins diet, or no, this, what is it? The keto diet, which is basically what Atkins, I think, was like early 2000s. So, things kind of, got back to where they were. And lots of people struggle with eating disorder. And that's why I decided that I wanted to specialize in that.
It's interesting you use the words like of shame and guilt. Why were you feeling those emotions when you were going through this eating disorder?
Well, first of all, I think, when I was struggling with bulimia, so binging, purging behaviors, they are like not your proudest moments, I would say. Also at that time, I think it has gotten a bit better, but still it's a big taboo topic and it's something that you can hide. And, I think this is how it starts, and it starts small and slow, but over time it kind of gets very, very big, right? So I bet Henry, or many people who struggle with an eating disorder, you kind of like, okay, I'm just going to skip one meal, or I'm just going to say I'm not hungry. And these are those like little things, but what it does, it creates that secrecy around it and that isolation that over time gets bigger, bigger, bigger. You get deeper, deeper, deeper in it. And yeah, it feels very embarrassing. And for me, it was obviously that I was studying psychology. So I felt like I should know better, right? That I am a mental health professional, but I'm struggling with my mental health.
And I think that's really, really important to share that message, is that even though you could be studying psychology, that does not mean you don't have your own things to figure out. That doesn't mean you've got your own emotions, your behaviors and your patterns. So you could still be, and in your case, Henry, also like being a pastor, that doesn't mean that you're perfect. That doesn't mean that you still have to, reflect on yourself and look at your behavior. And I think that's what everybody needs to understand when they are struggling through an eating disorder. And if they did wanted to seek help, that nobody is going to look at them in sorrowful eyes or disapproving eyes, because we're all human and we all have our own struggles. We all have our own faults. And that doesn't make, if you're struggling through something like this, it doesn't make somebody else superior to you. So it's important for those listening out there that are going through something like this to understand that if you are feeling alone and you are going through something that's really difficult at the moment, is once you cross that hurdle and go, actually, I do need help and I'm going to ask, and it doesn't matter what somebody thinks, then once you actually take that step, that first step, it's not as bad as you create in your mind. I think sometimes we create things a lot more bigger in our minds than what they actually are. And then that makes us want to run away from it altogether. But it's just taking that one small step. And once you do that, then everything will be okay going forward.
Yeah, I felt that the first thing to liberate me was knowing that eating disorder is not something that you can tell just by looking at people. And that was the first mistake I was making, because I felt that the way my eating disorder affected me then, I would look at pastors, grown-up pastors, and I wanted to see a pot belly to say, okay, he has eating problems, but it's way beyond that, because of two reasons. Because there are people whose metabolism can cope with their eating disorder. So even though they have an eating problem, or they are not eating the right things, they have machines in their metabolism that is working overtime to deal with their eating disorders, and that I said it last time, that there are people who, when they finish eating, you wonder, where did all that food go? And they are small size, So metabolism, the difference in metabolism is one thing that makes eating disorders not very visible. The second thing is knowing that 99% of humanity has an eating disorder. Because until we all come to the fullness of knowledge, which is promised at a very later age, but science is telling us we will get to what they call singularity in knowledge very soon, maybe 7 to 10 years, But before that, until we get to the fullness of knowledge, of knowing what's best for us, what do we eat, that will make us like this, last time I talked about the fact that there's a study that's out now that says there's a certain meal that sort of fruits that if you eat them, it affects your brain. But from the time you're 7, if you keep eating it faithfully, it will affect your brain. By 21, you would have the emotional stability of a 31-year-old. It gives you 10 years plus just by eating it faithfully from 7 to 21. And so it affects your sexual choices, your relationship choices, your decisions in the area of your emotions. And so the point I was making was discovering that everybody has an eating problem freed me. And it freed me in two ways. It freed me from, one of the mistakes we make is to say, we make excuse, oh, there's a lot of us having this problem. That's number one. Then the second mistake is to say, that makes us lazy, because we've identified, so it makes us lazy to make changes for ourselves. But then again, there's that ugly side of us being satisfied that a lot of people are also having eating problems. We feel okay. So, and so that's an excuse for sitting down with pizza at 12 midnight and it's cold and you're chugging it down with a bottle of Coke, and that's bad. That's going to kill you. That's going to just add fat that you can't burn easily, So that there are others in that problem doesn't mean you should get into it. So I felt that those were the first two things that really helped me. And it just it freed me to say, okay, I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not going to look for a girdle at the age of 18, to pull back a belly, because, especially when the advent of gyms started, man, I've never been to a gym in all my life. I wouldn't say I've never. I have been, but I mean, to go dress that I'm going to work out, I haven't. I live a lifestyle that kind of helps, be serious, work out a lot, and I don't want to show up muscles here, but I do have biceps that look big as if I've worked out, but I've never. But then, what the point I was making is, when it started, I started being intimidated when men showed up ripped, well looking good. They didn't have to pull their bellies in to wear flat t-shirts. I couldn't wear, those t-shirts that they called wife beaters that were sleeveless and tight. I couldn't wear those things, because of what I was dealing with, and that was intimidating. But we'll talk about how gradually we came to the place, or I came to the place where, started looking good, started feeling happy with myself, started enjoying what it was to go to the beach and not have to wear a t-shirt if you're jumping. I was in Puerto Rico and I went into the sea without a t-shirt. But before, if you go to the beach and you're not looking good, you wear a t-shirt over because everybody else is looking good and all of that, But we'll get to that. But those are the things that helped me.
But it's like what you've just said there in terms of exercise, and I just think it's our whole view and a whole perspective on how we have looked at our relationship with food. We often see the gym or exercising as more of a punishment, not a punishment, but a support to be like, oh, I've eaten really, really bad today, so I got to go to the gym. We're not having conversations like, do you know what? I want to go to the gym because my body needs to be strong, and exercise provides my muscles that strength to keep me fit, to keep me healthy, to keep me when I'm in my later years, so I'm fit and strong. We don't. We view it as, oh, it's too much work, we have to go to the gym. So I think it's this perspective and this view that we have created. It's the same with the food thing. We look at, oh, I have to go on a diet. This thing of a diet is just all wrong altogether, because to our mind, a diet is a short-term fix. People just do it short-term and then just think afterwards, oh, once my diet is finished, then I can be normal again. So we've created this view in our minds, and that's leading on later on, Henry, to what you're going to be talking about, is this relationship that we have then created with regards to food, because we are viewing the whole thing wrong. Yeah. And then that obviously also leads to, we attach also our worth to how we look. So if we're not thin enough, if we don't have a big enough bum, or if we don't have, this physique that everybody's going, then it's seen as, oh, we can't be part of society, or we can't fit in. So we punish ourselves through then using food to damage our bodies, when in fact our bodies are there religiously working for us on a day-to-day basis. And instead of treasuring our bodies and respecting our bodies and loving our bodies for seeing how amazing that it keeps us alive from day to day, we're destroying it in the process because of our inability to view what food actually does for us.
Were you asking me or Anna?
Anna, what's interesting is when you were studying psychology, and you were going through this, was there not a part of you that actually, like, during studying it, wanting to go, like, scream it almost and go, hey guys, this is what I'm going through, and I can't believe I'm going through this right now?
To be honest, no. I was just like so deep in this secrecy and pretending that everything was fine that I was not even thinking that that would be an option to speak out about it. So that's how, how much stigma was there on me. But I just wanted to say, just to kind of refer to what you were saying before, and I totally agree with that, this whole diet culture and going on a diet, it just destroys our relationship with food. Like, do you know that after exercising, our body releases endorphins? So those are those happiness hormones. It's good for us. Our bodies love that and we feel better. But when we force ourselves to exercise, when we have this mindset of, oh, I need to do it, I want to lose weight, and sometimes maybe we push ourselves too hard or just force ourselves to go, when our bodies actually need rest, because there you also need to find this balance, I think. But yeah, it's like so strange that we can turn something so positive and so good for our bodies to something negative and kind of a punishment, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're doing, and a lot of the time, I mean, just a little bit about my story I'd like to share with you guys is that, what I found myself when I was tired or stressed, I would reach out for chocolates and crisps, and I wouldn't just have the one chocolate bar. I'd have the 5 chocolate bars, and I would have the 3 bags of big crisps, and I would go on and on, and I would never ever get full, because it's almost like I was trying to release myself out of this overwhelming feelings or tiredness that I was experiencing. But I was almost like digging a hole that was a never ending hole that I could just keep on digging. And it wasn't until I got to the point where I got perhaps almost like, oh, physically sick, like I can't eat anymore, till then I actually then stopped. But it wasn't until later on in my life where I started realizing, hang on a minute, so you're feeling tired, you're feeling stressed, and you're reaching for food. why are you feeling stressed? Why are you feeling tired? And I had to learn for myself is that I was overextending myself, which meant it left me tired, which meant it left me stressed. And I had to learn boundaries with regards to myself in terms of, okay, Michelle, you don't have to do this today. Nobody's asked you. And then once I made peace with that, it then automatically takes those overwhelming feelings to go, actually, I want to go for a run instead, because like you mentioned, those endorphins leave you feeling good. I mean, who goes for a run or goes and does exercise and afterwards goes, let me have a slice of pizza? You don't do it. You don't go, oh, let me go have a chocolate bar. You don't do it because you're feeling good. Your body is not craving for that sugar release. It's not doing that. It feels satisfied. It's had the nourishment. Nobody does it. Everybody feels like really, really positive. So I suppose it's recognizing the behaviors, recognizing why perhaps that you do want to reach out for junk, or you feel that you do need to go on a diet. So it's examining your self-worth, your patterns and your behaviors, and actually go, is this something that I can overcome or take small steps working on? But understanding that part, then we definitely need to look at changing this relationship that we have with food. And I'd love, Henry, for you to speak on this wonderful acknowledgement that you have with regards to this, creating this relationship with food.
Yeah. One of the first, like I said, the first thing that set me free was just knowing a lot of things, and God just helped me by just showing me and teaching me a lot of things about food, and knowledge of food. Knowledge just changes everything. The Bible says, "My people perish because of lack of knowledge." And one of the first things that God taught me was the relationship we're supposed to have with food. This relationship, how we look at food and how we treat food. And that's a huge mistake that we're making in this time. Our food is being prepared more by outsiders than insiders. If you're a mother and 50% of the food your family eats is made outside, you're losing an opportunity to be a blessing, to touch the lives of your children. You're supposed to pray over the food. You're supposed to talk to the food. You're supposed to prepare the food with the people. Food listens. They are living things. There's somewhere in the Bible, in the book of Judges, where the Bible says the trees of the earth started talking to themselves. The earth needed a leader. And then the grape tree came out and said, I cannot lead because my job is to produce this. And I've always wondered why God put that in the scriptures, until God taught me that the trees, the food, the plants understand their role and they know it inherently. That's why they work hard to produce what they produce, which becomes nutrition and nutrients to us. And so imagine a table where you have your children helping you, peel the onions or cut up the leaves or chop up this or the carrots, and it builds unity. The food from the garden to the preparation to the pot and to the stomach, the 4 steps, there's a relationship, and they are conscious of it, and they release their nutrients. Actually, the earth says it will give its fruit willingly because God has commanded it to do that. Once we lose that relationship with food, we don't get the best out of food. And trust me, commercialism and industrialism destroys the purpose of food. You lose more than half the nutrition of food from the way you kill the animal. If it is cruel and bitter or whatever, that's why even killing of animal, most religions teach you how to kill an animal. There is speaking over it, there is facing a direction, there is making sure it doesn't suffer pain, there's and all of that. So, if we lose that relationship with food, all the way to putting it on the table, serving. So the chicken you're eating, the moment you taste it, you remember that chicken from when you were breeding it, and you enjoy the nutrition in it. But these days, you don't know where the chicken comes from. And so all of a sudden, if they call back chicken from Peru, everybody's like, did I eat chicken from Peru? If they say, oh, all the chicken from so and so place were tainted, how do you know whether that's what you ate? And it's this fast food system. I know it's technology and it's modernism, but it has taken away our relationship with food. And and it's difficult to eat healthy if we are dependent on processed food more than us processing the food. Let me end by saying this. One of the things God did when he cursed Adam and Eve and when he cursed the land was that he was cursing the process of food, of making food. And there's a reason why God cursed the process of making food, because the process of making food was one way through which Adam and Eve tried to gain eternity. They tried to live forever. You remember they ate a fruit. So when God cursed the process of making food, he was also actually cursing the process of living forever, living eternally. And part of what modernization, civilization, and technology has done to our food is take away its natural tendency to give us eternal life, health that lasts longer. And take note, the fact that we have lost that ability to prepare food the way it's supposed to be has correlated either accidentally or coincidentally with the decrease in life expectancy. Adam lived to be 959 years old. And since then, at one point, it was 120 years old in Genesis chapter 6. And then now, life expectancy is between 80 and 100 years old. And that has gone pari passu with our loss of the ability to prepare food the way food is supposed to be prepared.
I think I hear what you're saying in terms of everything in this world is energy, and that includes our food and the plants and the animals and everything around us. And if we just don't connect with on an energy level, then it's like when you have a bad relationship or when you meet somebody and you just kind of feel the energy and like, oh, I don't really get on. And it's that same process when if you did plant strawberries in your garden and you went out and you watered it every single day, there's almost like a love. You're falling in love with the strawberries. You build in that relationship with the strawberries, and there's almost an element of in when it comes to the time when the strawberries are ripe to pick, you taste that and it just tastes like the best thing ever. And I think that is also down to that psychological connection that you've had through that process of building, almost like you said, there it was like the grapefruit has its purpose. So the strawberry is there for serving us that purpose to be able to give us the nourishment, and that's the strawberry's job for that period of time. But he's able to do that and take it to that extra level with us because of the love that we provide in it. And if we're not doing that nowadays and we just go into McDonald's and picking up, a Happy Meal or something like that, where's the relationship in that? We've got processed nuggets. We don't even know what the hell is, mind my language, what's in there, And apparently I looked up the other day, there's like, I think, don't quote me on this, like 15, 16 ingredients, what actually is in the fries. And if it's just fries, you would think it's just like potato and the oil that it's fried in. But there's so much more ingredients to actually French fries from McDonald's. So how can we feel good? Like you said earlier about your metabolism, this is not just about whether somebody's got a good metabolism or whether somebody's not. It's the whole concept of eating all this extra chemicals and this mindset of, oh, I'm on a rush, I'm going to eat this really, really quickly, and I'm going on a lunch break, yet we eat our food in 2 minutes and then just carry on and stress. That's got to affect us. That has to lead us to further on, actually, let me go and grab another muffin because I can't even remember eating lunch. But if we were to sit down and actually go, let's sit down, we're having a conversation, there is that mindfulness when it comes to eating, then by the end of it, you're not thinking, oh, I need to go and pick up a snack later on, because you feel nourished, you feel completed, you feel like the food that you've eaten has actually provided that nutritional value for you. If somebody is going through an eating disorder, Anna, and they are listening in and they are feeling shame and they feel like they can't stop, what would you say to somebody that's out there listening?
No, I would definitely say that a lot of people struggle with an eating disorder, or like Henry said, that everyone has one to some certain degree, let's say. And yeah, just to speak out about it to someone. If you're feeling too shy to speak to a to a family member or to friends, because I think sometimes we can be more shy around or embarrassed around people that actually know us, but there's lots of professional help available, lots of charities as well that you can even phone. And I think the very first step is to break that silence and that secrecy around it and to speak to someone. And I am pretty sure that the experience will be like, okay, well, I told them and people didn't say, oh my God, or they didn't shame me any further, right? Because people are compassionate and it's not something that you chose, and it's definitely something that you can recover from.
And that's important. It's not something that you choose. You don't wake up one day and go, do you know what? I'm going to have a really unhealthy relationship with food. I'm going to have an eating disorder. So it's important for people to understand that nobody's to blame. In fact, half the time, yes, we're all responsible for our own lives, but we're all born into a world and a society where all these things are happening before we actually enter. So a lot of the time is that we pick up these behaviors, we pick up what's already around us and think that's a normal thing to do. And it's normal to go on a diet. It's normal to lose weight and be skinny and look and be accepted. That's our normal. So it's if somebody is going through something, just to remember that it's not your fault. It's not your fault at all. And there shouldn't be any shame around it, because we can't run away from what's around us, but we can also have these conversations and we can have this knowledge to actually go, hang on a minute, what's been going on for such a long time needs to perhaps stop. We need to be responsible as human beings to kind of change what's going on, because clearly something's not working. We're all eating loads of junk. We're all getting more depressed every single day through overworking, through stress. Relationships are breaking up. We're not eating properly. So there has to come a point where we have to go, we need to stop this. So it's really important for people the more we speak about this, the more we can encourage people to think our behaviors is not going to help us in any way. And it's about refocusing this relationship that we have with our food. And very interesting, Henry, you said last time, it's this climbing into bed and also eating late at night.
Yes. So the issue of eating in bed, technically, there's nothing wrong with eating in bed. After all, there's, breakfast in bed, but there are things that we need. Michelle, you had mentioned something about our behaviors. So our body senses our feeling, and our feelings matter when we eat. So if the difference between lazy eating in bed and eat breakfast in bed is that we feel loved, we feel catered to, we feel taken care of when we are served breakfast in bed, compared to when, out of loneliness, depression, and tiredness, we take our food to our bed. So the posture you eat your meal sends signals to your body. As a pastor, for instance, there was a specific instruction on how to eat the Passover. You were supposed to eat it standing, and there were supposed to be certain positions you were supposed to take to eat it. There's a reason why God asked for all of that. I don't know. I think I saw a study somewhere that, kind of was saying that children who have at least one meal a day, 4 days a week, with their parents at the table, have better results in certain things in life, for some reason. So, but you notice that either kids, when they are teenagers, start wanting to go to their room to eat, and they are always eating in bed, or sitting on the floor eating, or sitting on the couch, or on a swing, or on the stairs eating. Those are places that people have been known to stay and eat. But your body gets a wrong message when your feelings are distorted or messed up when you're eating. It's important to eat with a good feeling. It's important to eat with satisfaction. In the book of Exodus, I think there was a story where the children of Israel had complained and murmured before God. And the Bible says he brought quails, and they were eating the quails. The Bible says while the quail was between their teeth, he destroyed them, because he said they consumed it from a place of lust. They were eating from a place of, without gratitude, without self-control, without, proper feelings. In the book of Proverbs, the Bible also says something about put a knife to your throat if you don't have self-control and you come to a king on his dining table. So the attitude with which you eat sends messages to you. And most times when what you're telling yourself, but when you're eating, is what the food releases to you. Either release health, strength, or just fills up your stomach with fat and undigestible food. So it's important to attach proper feelings, proper emotional mindset, proper psychological mindset to our meals, and to create a good atmosphere where even the poorest of meal serves you the best that it can, because you have attached the best attitude, the best mindset to it. And I think that's what I was trying to talk about.
No, definitely. What struck is that false pleasure. You said, we eat for this false pleasure. And what popped into my mind straight away is that if you took a chocolate bar and actually took the core ingredients and you sat it in front of you, like oil, cocoa, sugar, and you actually sat there and said, yeah, have the bar of chocolate, and took a cup of oil and drunk it, and took some cocoa and drunk it, nobody would eat it. Nobody would eat it, because it's this brainwashing that we have about this false pleasure, that this bit of food is going to make me feel better, or it's going to satisfy me, or it's going to make me feel less stressed. So you're right, it's this false pleasure that we've associated in our brains, because we don't look at a lovely piece of broccoli and go, oh, this is really, really good for me, and this is what I need right now. Our body knows it's what we need, because once we actually finish a really nutritious meal, if our feelings are detached, we don't feel like we need anything else. But if we've got the association that, oh, I need to have that little treat, I've had a long day, I need to have a little treat, we view it as a treat. We view it as, oh, if I skip a meal and I don't eat all day, that's me looking after myself. If you have developed an eating disorder, And also, what I'd like to emphasize is that I have often, so many times, reached for 3 bags of crisps and gone, this is the last time. Today is it. This is the last time I'm doing it. I'm going to make sure, that I pull out those extra 3 bags from the cupboard, and then I'm going to go to the fridge and have the ice cream after. Then I'm going to have this, because this is it. This is the last time. And come tomorrow, that's it. I'm done. So take that. Exactly. And then a few days later, then you're like, the next day you're strong, you wake up, yes, that's great, I'm not thinking. And then the week later, this is the last time, Michelle, this is the last time. And I went through like that all the time, like, this is it, this is the last time. So if anybody who take that pressure off yourself in terms of thinking, right, okay, this is it, this is the last time. Because again, it's the association that you have in your brain, this diet that is short term, that this quick fix is your last time. If you actually just take a step back and go, do you know what? This may not be the last time. I know I need to change my relationship with food. I know that these things that I need working on, then it almost changes the dynamics and the perspective on actually disassociation of having those feelings where you feel even worse about yourself. So don't view it as this is the last time. Don't view it that you're never going to do something again. Send that text message and go, okay, I might not be able to make the phone call, but let me quickly send a text message and just send it really quickly and go, I need some help because I think I have got a problem. Because that might change it a little bit and be able to help you and have a little bit more compassion and empathy, because you're going through a rough time already as it is. The last thing you need is to punish yourself and think that this is the last time, and that maybe look at it and go, do you know what? It's okay. I might have a relapse again next week, but I know that it's not entirely my fault. It's just the way that what's around me, and I'm going to try my best to do better.
I think also our bodies are much smarter than we actually think they are. Also, what Henry said, I had the same after my fasting. And this is our body's way to survive, right? Because when you fast and you starve it, your body is in like full on emergency mode because it thinks it's dying, you know? So of course, everything will smell so much better, taste so much better. You then can't control yourself around food because your body is like, and it remembers that time you starved it. And it's like, oh no, we need some extra fat, right? We need some to survive again. And also what you said, Michelle, when we forbid ourselves, because I had, when you were talking about this is the last time, for me it was always a Sunday. I don't know why, but always on a Sunday I would because Monday, you know, was this new week. But again, when you forbid yourself, even Adam and Eve, like they couldn't resist the forbidden fruit, and you instantly have that panic kind of feeling, you know, when you forbid yourself and you're like, no, I'll never eat it again. So you just want to stuff yourself with what you will then forbid, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay. Well, listen, thank you so both. But before I end, so let's go to you, Anna. So you have created this Healthy Mind Club. If people wanted to find out more about that, where can they find you? And if they did have an eating disorder and they wanted to work with you, how do they do that?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram. It's at healthy.mindclub, or on my website, it's healthymindclub.eu.
Fantastic. And Henry, this book that you're working on, when can we have a sneak peek into the spiritual guide to healthy eating?
So the spiritual guide to healthy eating will be out sometime before the end of April. I don't have a date yet. There's just a few more things, statistics and stuff that I need to get to have it ready. I just have the manuscript ready, but I'll let you guys know. I'll let Michelle know. But I think tentatively around between the 25th and the 27th of April, my book will be ready.
Fantastic. Thank you both so much. I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Yeah, thank you so both.
Thank you so much.